Well, hello, I'm Josh, and I'm back once again with another film to tell you about. And this week I'm talking about Preston Sturges' 1941 classic, Sullivan's Travels. Sullivan's Travels stars actor Joel McCrea as writer-director John L. Sullivan. Known for directing popular comedy films like Ants in Your Plants of 1939 and So Long Sarong. Despite his box office success, Sullivan is tired of making these silly movies and wants to do something important. Something that really has meaning to it.
I want to make Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
The studio execs are obviously not thrilled that their comedy director wants to go serious, and they remind Sullivan that he knows nothing about suffering. He's lived very well his whole life. However, their plans backfire, and instead of abandoning the idea, Sullivan decides to leave his money and mansion behind and go on the road as a homeless man. Early on in his journey, he meets another traveler, played by Veronica Lake, and together they get into a series of disasters. Preston Sturges was known back in the 1940s for being one of the first writer-directors in Hollywood who wrote completely alone. The studio system at the time would often put writers together in teams, and so it was quite rare for a screenplay to be written by just one person. And for that same person to also direct the film was just completely unheard of. But back in the 30s, Sturges was very insistent on becoming a writer and a director. So much so that he ended up selling his script for The Great McGinty for only $10, with the only condition being that he would also be able to direct. And over the next 4 years, he would go on to write and direct 8 films for Paramount, becoming one of the most prolific filmmakers of the time.
In fact, I met him first when I was going to school at Todd, about 13 years old. He was a wonderful fellow, and I think a great filmmaker, as it turned out.
Yes, a great filmmaker, and a great screenwriter.
Yeah.
A great writer, anyway.
Yeah.
Great dialogue.
Sadly, after leaving Paramount, following several arguments, he had a string of flops and an ill-fated partnership with Howard Hughes, along with some financial troubles which led to him only making a few more films after that. But that 4-year run he had at Paramount has been seen as one of the most impressive points in any Hollywood career. And though this film Sullivan's Travels was made in 1941, just a year after he began directing, it was already his 4th film, following shortly after The Lady Eve and just before The Palm Beach Story. And one thing I love about Preston Sturges films is that not only is the dialogue hilarious, but he would also use the same group of actors for each of his films at Paramount. These character actors like Jimmy Conlon, Al Bridge, and William Demarest became known unofficially as the Sturges Stock Company. These were people that Sturges knew very well, and so would cast them as all the background and side characters in the film, and then write for them the best lines in the scene.
How many members in this club?
Well, there's Ozzy and Hissy and Hip and Hip. That makes 4, and you and me, that makes 6.
I'm not a member of this club.
Why not?
Oh, it isn't good enough for you, eh?
Now, let's get this straight. How many members are there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6.
All right, that's 3. Now, we'll start from there.
You trying to make a liar out of me?
Mr. President, I move that this member be expelled.
Second motion.
All those in favor say aye.
He also liked to play around with the types of roles that these people are known for, and he would make jokes out of subverting expectations. Take this scene, for instance, with the world-renowned tough guy Frank Moran.
Thus begins this remarkable expedition into the Valley of the Shadow of Adversity.
The shadow of the what?
The Valley of the Shadow of Adversity is what you call a paraphrase.
Alone and unattended.
So as you can see, Sturges was a master at comedy, so it's really no wonder that he's a favorite of the Coen brothers. I mean, you can spot his influence pretty easily in a lot of their comedies. Not to mention the title of their film, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Another aspect of this film I like is just how much it mixes genre. I mean, it makes sense that as we are following through the eyes of a Hollywood film director, that everything we see would look especially cinematic. And so you often find the film going from slapstick to drama to thriller, quite seamlessly. I feel that's probably one of the reasons this film is so rewatchable. There's a bit of everything in it. And though it was not a huge success at the time, it has gone on to get major recognition. It currently sits at 61 on the AFI Top 100 American Films list, and it's been cited as a favorite for filmmakers such as Guillermo del Toro, James L. Brooks, Orson Welles, Bill Hader, Alan Arkin, and Peter Bogdanovich, just to name a few. So if you'd like to watch Sullivan's Travels, it's available to rent or buy from all the major streaming sites, as well as being currently able to stream for free with ads on Tubi. And physically, there are a few options for DVD and Blu-ray as well. As you can see, I've got the Criterion edition, of course, and this one's really nice. It's got a lot of bonus features, including an hour-long Preston Sturges documentary, which is great, especially if you're not really familiar with who he is. That's really what first introduced me to him. But also there are several interviews, including one with Preston Sturges himself, and there's also a great commentary track which was done by people like Noah Baumbach, Kenneth Bowser, Christopher Guest, and Michael McKean. And now it's time for the comment question, and I'm wondering, what is your favorite Preston Sturges film? He's not quite as well known today as some of the other directors of the period like Billy Wilder or Frank Capra, but he's a really interesting one to look up if you're unfamiliar with his work. So be sure to put your favorites and maybe one you want to see down in the comments section below. Hit the like button if you like this video and subscribe if you want to see more. And until next time, be sure to keep watching movies. I'll see you later.